And at a certain point, we need to confront this. You can ignore it. You can avoid it. You can try and sidestep that conversation. But at the end of the day, why is it that we can't live in major cities? A huge part of it is because of this criminal population. And it's not all of them. Everybody knows that. It almost doesn't even need to be said. We all know not every single black person's a criminal. And we all know not every single black person is a racist against white people. We all know that. However, we also know that the reason you're not able to go safely on the subway at night or during the day is because of this contingent. I don't know how big it is. I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but there is a contingent among the black population that makes it unsafe for everybody. Blacks and whites included, Hispanics and Asians. That's why you can't ride on the subway. And the reason that you can't commute to work on the subway is because of this. That's why you got to get a car and drive in traffic. And the reason you can't live in certain neighborhoods and why you got to go and move out in the suburbs is the same reason. And the reason you can't send your kids to school in the city is because of the same reason. And the reason you can't have a 24/7 restaurant downtown, it's the same reason. And so how are we going to live? How are we going to live? How are we going to live our lives free from fear? How are we going to live our lives and even have a social fabric at all when this is the kind of thing that is going on? And I don't think people even realize the damage that diversity has done to the social fabric. People don't even realize these knock-on second-order effects of diversity. Think about it in these terms. Why is it so unaffordable to live in any major city? It's because you can't live in the ghetto. It's because whether it's Houston, Texas, or New York, or Chicago, Illinois, or Los Angeles, California, we all know a third of the city is off limits. You can't live there. All that real estate is off the table. Why? It's not because it's a poor neighborhood. It's because it's a black neighborhood. And what's the difference? You can live in a poor neighborhood, and yeah, the amenities are going to be bad, but if you live in a black neighborhood, it's going to be too dangerous. So you're priced out. You got to go to the suburbs. And you can't take the train into the city because, again, who will you encounter on the train? Violent black people. So you got to drive to work. And again, you can't hang out too late in the city because who you going to encounter? Same crowd. And even if you want to live in the city, you're still priced out because let's say you got 3 kids. Well, you got to send them all to private school, $20,000 a pop every year. Because you send them to the public school, who are you going to encounter? Same crowd. There can be no public amenities. There can be no public pool, beach, any kind of waterfront, because what does any free public amenity attract? Those people. So you got to pay out the ass for all of the other entertainment that's way too expensive because then they can't afford it and you're not going to see them there.
A lot of people will see this from Nick Fuentes and be like, oh, he's racist, he's talking crazy and stuff like that. But I've came to find out that anytime I've had a conversation with black people from the suburbs, they're actually glad that they moved into a more safer neighborhood, safer schools, better schools. So I don't think Nick Fuentes is that wrong. And I know some people may think I'm crazy for saying that, but sometimes we just have to have the uncomfortable conversation. Have a real conversation with any black person you do see in the suburbs. They all say the same thing. That some of them openly admit that they prefer living in white neighborhoods. Look, I'm from Southern California. I absolutely hate LA in a lot of places. It is dangerous. You gotta look over your shoulder. So I'm gonna be real. I don't think Nick is crazy for saying this type of stuff. It may be controversial.
It's like this with everything. But it even goes further. So now that we've retreated to the suburbs and private schools and in our cars on the highway and we can't gather in the city at night and we got to be on the lookout, think about how much that has frayed and degraded the social fabric. Think about how nice it would be to live in a civilization where we could all live in the city. And we could all walk around free from fear. And we could all jump on the train late at night. And we could all go to the restaurant and burn the midnight oil and have a cup of coffee or have a drink into the wee hours of the morning without having to worry about a certain clientele. Imagine how different things could be. Imagine how nice that would be if everybody was a little bit less tense and a little bit less afraid and didn't have to quicken their pace when they see a certain crowd on a street corner or walking behind them. Think about how different it would be for all of our lives, how much better it would be in intangible ways. Forget about even the economics of it. Forget about the crime statistics. Think about the intangibles. Think about what it would be like if you could take your kids and tell them, hey, here's some money for bus fare. Go out with the kids and have a good time this weekend. Imagine living in a major city like Chicago, New York, or LA and saying, hey, here's some money for the bus. Go downtown to that big public gathering. Say hi to everybody you meet and have a good time. Come back when it gets dark out or something like that. Imagine how different it would be. We can't do that anymore. It's not like that anymore. And we all know why that is. It's not because of the human beings. It's not because of the human beings with all of those human being problems. We don't need to contemplate theodicy. It's a black people problem. It's a diversity problem. And it's the same story in Europe. It's the same story in the United Kingdom. And it's just a question of what kind of quality of life do you want to have? I want my fucking country back. I want my neighborhood back. I want my city back. I want my country back. You know what? Everybody always asks me, why do you live in Chicago? Whenever I tell people I live in the suburbs of Chicago, people say, why do you still live in that shithole? Well, Chicago is America too. Chicago is one of the fastest growing cities in the history of the world. And at one point was the second city and a very important hub that connected the East to the West. And Chicago built America. Stockyards, railways, all of it. And in a way, Chicago helped to build America. This is a great American city, but you can't live here anymore. It's impossible, and we all know why. You can't go to Chicago public schools because of the black kids. You can't ride on the CTA because of the black people. You can't live in the South or the West Side because of the black people. You can't stay out too late. You got to be careful on the highways because of the black people. Nothing's open 24/7 because it attracts the black people like a moth to a flame. You can't go to the beach, can't go to Oak Street Beach because of the black people. You can't do anything because of these people.
Democratic Grand City, by the way. But yo, look, I get it. The fact that these words are coming out of the mouth of someone that looks like Nick Fuentes could be triggering and be like, yo, he doesn't have the right to speak on this stuff. But he does live in Chicago. There's bad sides and good sides, but unfortunately, that's how it is. And you know what's crazy? I've been thinking a lot about the Carmelo Anthony protests that happened this week. All those black activists and people saying unity amongst ourselves, black people need to stay together, all this stuff. But it's cities like Chicago where black people are tearing each other down. There's like violence, jealousy, destroying each other's neighborhoods, at war with each other. You guys do all that, but you guys don't preach that to your own hood, to your own neighborhood, so. But it is true what Nick's saying that you can't even like go to the gas station without, you just have to be head on a swivel all the time.
And so it starts with this. That's my city. Those are my amenities. That's my tax dollars. That's the center of everything. We want these things back. I want the CTA back. I want those beautiful planters on the Mag Mile back. I want my fucking Magnificent Mile back. I want Water Tower Place back. I want Chicago back. I would like to start a family here, and I would like them to go to Marshall Fields or Macy's or whatever, like my parents did. I would like them to go downtown and ride the L and go to the Sox game like my parents did. But I can't because of this fucking criminal population. And we can't do anything about it because people are always telling us it's not about race. It's about structural issues, systemic issues, the rest of it. And it's just a question, are we going to fight for our country? Are we going to fight for our neighborhoods and our towns and our cities, which comprise our country? Our cities are our country. You don't live in America. You live in the New York metro. You live in the Miami metro. You live in the LA metro, the Chicago metro. And people say, well, those are the cities. The big cities are where everybody lives. The major metropolitan areas, that's where most of Americans live. That is America. You're either in the cities with these problems, or a generation ago, your family moved out of the cities because of these problems, and you're in the suburbs of those cities. That's our country. And so when people come here to the airport and they see the nonsense there, and then they get on the train and they see the nonsense there, and they arrive in the city and they see the nonsense, that's our country. So do you want a real country? Do you want a quality of life? Because this is what diversity has wrought for all of us. And by the way, what it is doing, it is making it so that the only way to live is to be rich. You are either rich and you can afford to build these white picket fences and gated communities, and you can have police that are on everybody's ass and chasing the jalopies out of the town. That's really what it's becoming, a socioeconomic phenomenon. You can either be Tucker Carlson and you can have a $10 million home in rural Maine and say, I don't think about race, not a problem. But if you're poor, you're fucked. If you're poor, you're sending your kids to public school. If you're poor, you have to get some car and drive on the highway with these animals. If you're poor, you have to take advantage of the free amenities and just watch your back. Am I wrong? Our country is becoming bifurcated. A slave class has been imported. These people are doing nothing but causing problems. And the rich are effectively seceding into these bubbles and pockets where they are unaffected by it. We are the ones that have to mingle and find common ground with the new slave class. We get enriched by the diversity. We get enriched by all these different types of people. These sorry blacks that the rich, affluent white people feel sorry for, the Hispanics and Indians that they've brought in, we're the ones that have to deal with them. So this is diversity. This is multiracialism. This is multiculturalism. And look, the only way it's going to be solved is if you just get a government elected that says, we're going to take care of the problem. We don't care what color it is. We don't care how it shakes out in the end, what the proportions are going to be. You got to take care of the problem. There has to be some standards. And to me, that's the real definition of assimilation. The real definition of assimilation is, do you want to live in the kind of country we had? If so, let's just all agree that we can elect somebody as the mayor, governor, president that's just going to flush the shit down the toilet.
I definitely agree with that. We definitely need politicians that don't care about race, no biasness, Democrat, Republican. It doesn't even matter. I would like my politician to just bring out some common sense. And I don't think he's wrong. Like I said before, you talk to any black person that did move to the suburbs from whatever city, we're glad they made the choice. I'm all for it. Divorce your emotions. I've talked, hundreds of black people have told me that they don't like living around a place that's predominated by black people. I hate how there's a lot of bad apples ruin it for everybody, where people just stereotype us. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think about Nick. Is this a controversial take? Do you agree with them? I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this, but I'll catch you in the next video. Later.